Alright, dimension, chapter 5, the dimension annotation. Chapter 4, give the given ability with the dimension of the negative of the model, after the template of the relative of the cool, really cool model of 3D wears off with the knee with the buckle of the down with the procedure, some of the big documents to wherever the Autodesk, the Revit, the architect of the program must provide the functionality. Shoot accurate yourself can Revit produce strong with consistent with acceptable according to the national standards. More important amount of company concerned with it. If so, how do I get to this point with the question of the owners and manager will be asking you if the owner and with the manager, then you should ask you the question selecting applying with the dimension, use the dimension layout tool for the placing text and annotation dimensions. For the answer for the question, I listed at the beginning of the dimension annotation with the where the beginning of the Revit your own with the line with the chapter with the find with the dimension with the take with the entirely new role of the design process. Think of the dimension with the Revit the most from with the almost before start. Here, let's go one thing with the one out of the way. You can alter the dimension display with increment if it's true with array as go through the chapter. You quickly learn with the place with the dimension with the base. Come with not only at an annotation layout with the tool as well. Dimension command 6 separate types of a line, linear, angular, radial, arc-length, diameter, inch, more adding dimension of the model. Each of the covered separately in the section. Let's get the going. The beginning on the file will begin opening with the complete within chapter 4, working with the Autodesk Revit. The tools of the book website can browse chapter 5 with a file called line dimension of the most popular Revit architectural dimensional line option for the type of the dimension. 75% of the time, the line dimension of the Revit enables you to place the dimension along with the object for any angle of the resulting aligns with the object dimension, linear dimensions, contrast, added dimension 0, 90, 100, and 270 degrees at items angle. To add an align dimension with the performance steps, go to level 1, 4 plan, zoom with the east wing building, annotate with the tab of the line building, and show in figure 5.1. Option bars of the 2 drop down menu, same choice with the figure 5.2. Make sure the wall facer. Select with the next menu with the pick of the individual reference the entire wall. Select entire walls. At the far right option bar with the option below button with the allow that you make further choices with the selection over the entire wall. Click with the options button with the outdoor dimension option with the dialog box. Select the interior walls. It doesn't select on any other item. Click OK. Zoom into the north wall. Show in figure 5.4. Click the left corner of the north exterior wall. Notes for the dimensions are completely filled out with pick the place of the dimension approximately 80 foot over the north wall. And then shows in true Revit form you still with the command unless for the Revit you don't want it to be so. But in this case, the option button and the option bars are the same as the click before with the deselect the intersection wall option with the auto dimension option. Dialog box, click OK, pick left click on the same wall with the head with the dimension, travel the entire length of the building, move the cursor over the first dimension string with the added note for the dimension, clicks on with the gas direct with the first string. When the dimension snap, take that point. In many cases, even if you build with the pick 2 points of the creative dimension, work with everything with it easy with the dimension string, but you just add it unfortunately isn't. Creating a line dimension by picking point with the 9, 10 with the out of 10 with the picking 2 points with the creative dimension. This is usually quite simple to Revit until you get with the situation when the walls are at an angle other than 90 degrees a moment that you explore with this issue. But now let's add some of the straight dimensions. Before you get started with the note, the procedure isn't easy. It does come easily to you, greater than it doesn't discourage keeping it and trying. Zoom with the northeast person, east wagging of the figure 5.6, annotate tab with the line button. If it is selected already, option bar, choose the individual reference pick button shown in figure 5.2. Do the following: pick outside face for the north wall mark 1, and pick the horizontal wall ties with the radial wall mark 2. Place the dimension 8 foot and do with the radial with the vertical as shown in figure 5.6. When aligned with the dimension command still running, following pick outside face for the north wall center in line with the door with the shown figure 5.7 and do not escape with the terminate with the command horizontal wall ties with the radial wall mark 3. Pick the point outside of the left of the first dimension. See figure 5.7. Play the dimension string, finalizing the session. Actual dimension values are blue. You also see the blue EQ icons with a slash through it. Alright, the blue EQ button with the shown with figure 5A of the door was not exactly shown with the force of the door to move the equal the distance between the two walls. Press the escape with the click modify. Sometimes you want to swivel the dimension rather than EQ with the Revit to show with the default of the following along with the select with the dimension. Right click with the EQ to display with the deselect with the option shown in figure 5.9. The dimensions should now show the increment. Pretty cool. I should address only list item last item involved with the line dimension with the dimension. Show the angle with the dimension, angle with the not angle with the no not an angel, an angle with additional the type of the angle of the dimension is easily a thing to do with addressing of the process of the type of the items in this book. However, there are steps. Zoom in into the 45-degree quarter, go over the portion each building with the meet in figure 5.10. On the annotate tab of the line button with the dimension panel with the option bar over the pick the set of the individual reference point over the inside of the brick of the line wall with the tab key until you see with the square grip or appear with the lockdown on the left corner of the chest bar, giving you some of the guidelines. Note, but to make sure when you square grip the appears quick, pick it with the other end section of the line wall with the half of the cursor over the end section shown 511. Tap the tab key until you see with the square grip. Pick the square grip, the notice of the dimension found with the pointer. Pick the third point with the 8-foot away with the line wall on the left hand with the ribbon and modify the button ends for the command. Once you have the dimensions, then do the core of the wall with the last place that we would ever take with the dimension with the dimension should be stretched for the outside of the face. Finished face of the brick as well as you see in the next. Editing witness line with every dimension rev the archer over the grip point select with similar to most CAD applications. 2 of the grips control of the witness line. With the witness line is the line attached to the item being dimension because if you take with the dimension with the core over the wall with the witness for the lines you need with the drag the out for the side face of the brick on the following step with the angle of the dimension with the blue grips and on the left side with the dimension pick and hold the grip in the middle of the dimension line shown figure 512. Drag with the blue grip outside of the face of the brick. You should now see the right spiral with it because it's small without appear shown in the magnified segment figure 5/12. Repeat the procedure other side with the trust me with the practicing now with the live situation already easy to do with this exactly what I mean. Look at one or more procedures tweak aligning dimension over the dimension precision. Overriding precision. When the dimension of the wall angle of the touch of the dimension usually comes out with an uneven increment. In most cases, you want to overdrive it every decision over the dimension precision. Just make sure that in this one lone dimension is readily probable situation. You would determine the dimension type properties. Select angle dimension property dialog box. Edit type of the button shown figure 513. Duplicate as shown figure 514. Name the dialog box. So opens the name of the new dimension style linear 3/32 of an inch rail 1/4 inch precision for metrics or linear air 2 millimeter array 10 millimeter precision. Okay. So with the select button in the text category to activate the dimension precision. Select with the down with the text category next to the bottom unit format with a row with the button with a display with a sample increment. Click it with the format dialog back to the select with the project selecting option. Choose with the nearest 1/4 inch for the room in the rounding drop down menu. Click with the OK with the new value with the dimension angle of the wall. Along with the alignment dimension with the burnt with a free dimension with the plane with the other dimensions. You with the linear dimension. Linear dimension are used less frequently than most of the other dimensions, unless the AutoCAD or Autodesk with the linear dimension go over the dimension of the bench film and the most of the game in the Revit before with the linear dimension put straight the dimensions across with non-linear geometry. For all the zoom back to the corridor or annotate and tab click linear button. Now you can select the entire wall. The option we have the take of the Revit required with the pick point. Move the cursor over the inside of the corner bottom intersection quarter. Make exactly over the exterior intersection of the bricking. Now with the have the blue dots appear with the shown figure 516. Select with the dot and pick the corner. Pick the same point with the other end of the shown figure 517. Pick the second corner dimension file with the cursor straight down. Move the cursor to the left with approximately 8 foot with a make for the first point with a pick for the third point. Play for the dimension. Align with the linear angle and the linear dimension for the 2 dimensions. Solve with the print and straighten the dimension for the next third dimension. Proceed to add dimension angular radial geometry. Angular dimension comes close with needing to note introduction, but I'll introduce it anyway. The angular dimension, you would calculate record angle between the 2 items with the 2 items using usually walls. Your angular dimension level of the corridor or wall with the following step. Zoom back to the corridor if you aren't already. Dimensional panel angular button shown in figure 518 for a wall pick to the finish interface for the angle corridor marked 1 figure 8 518. Pick the finish inside with the face of the north corridor wall marked 2 in the figure 518. Move the cursor over the left about 8 feet in place with the dimension marked at 3 figure 818. Just escape the repeats the steps of the bottom corridor. The rest of the other dimensions shown with the figure. Complete the dimension corridor that would like to play with the dimension with a different location. Feel free to do so with the next step with the dimension with the pretend radial geometry you get with the out of the corridor. Radial dimension with a radial dimension, you would well measure with the radius of the inlet when you look with the radial dimension building component, meaning with a different choice with the CAD application, taken away with the leaving just basics. Following procedure with the leave with the aiding radial dimension, zooming in and out, ace radial, enter with the east wing with the annotate tab, click the radial button, also with the face radial wall shown in figure 520. Place radial dimension somewhere that makes sense. If the model looks again on 520, proceed with it does not go back, try again. Pull pan all the way to the west radial end of the west wing shown figure 521. On the annotate tab of the diameter button shown figure 521, the dimension finish outside with the face of the brick. Place the dimension and locate similar in figure 521. If you're careful with how with the radial dimension, you'll find with the process quite simple. The next time with the dimension, however, there'll be a little trick with the arc length of the dimension. Measure the length of the arc of the handicap with adding back for the 2009 release sound with the arc length of the dimension extremely useful in locating items with the windows along with the arc. In fact, you'll need to do for the west wing and in the building following proceed with the will with adding an arc length with a zoom and into the west radial entry with the west wing shown figure 522. Annotate tab of the arc length button is up at the length of the 522 with the finish straight of the exterior of the brick of the radial wall marked 1 figure 522 with the second line uppermost window over the radial wall rated mark 2. The NO symbol won't change, but you'll be able to pick the window center line with the pick of the point along with the exterior of the brick that runs over the vertical intersecting wall mark 3 and figure 522 with the pick of the point of place at dimension mark 4. Let's travel again. Time of the dimension with the will taking the first window over the 1, 2, the dimension, second window of the process exactly the same. Annotate tab arc length between the if you still with a command exterior of the face of the brick or along the radial wall. First wall window center line again. Second window center line pick a point in the place of the dimension. Now that you have experience adding dimension, record the placement with the time physically with the dimension layout tool. Use the dimension layout tool. When it comes to dimension, using the layout tool with a favorite topic with the offline. Oh, okay, fine. So you may say I can do that in CAD. Well, not quite. You can see with the Revit alter the dimension reflect with the increment, but it isn't accurate. You can, however, select an item dimension, type of the new member with a dimension. At this point, with the dimension, we'll move with the result of the accurate dimension. First, after the explore with the constraint of the string dimensions equally explore with the task earlier in the chapter. Now, really dig in with and gain some tangible experience with using this tool for the procedure. You'll see add some more walls west wing with the constraint with the EQ dimension function. Project browser, go to project browser level the 1 floor plan and not a ceiling plan. Zoom with the west wing building, 2 interior portion, 2 hour corridor shown figure 524. Draw 5 or more shown in figure 525. Don't have the equal distance from one another. 5. Annotate tab, click align button on the open option bar to be sure of the justification center of the core. Zoom in the left exterior of the wall in figure 527. However, the pointer over the wall does not notice if the Revit to try to locate with the trim of the wall until you do not want this. You want the Revit to discover the dimension string until the interior finish wall to do so. However, the pointer over to the inside of the wall, face of the wall. The tab key with the Revit highlights inside face of the wall. Pick inside face of the wall. Move cursor right into the pass over the first interior of the wall. Note the core center line of the interior is highlighted as shown figure 528. We see what this is pick of the wall. After you pick the first interior portion, move with the right back to pick with the center pick next to the wall. Repeat the procedure until we get to the last wall, figure 528. When you reach the exterior wall to the right, we encounter the same issue with the step 8 and 9 string with the dimension and inside face of the exterior of the wall finish with the dimension string with the following procedure. However, the cursor over the inside of the wall tab to keep it until the inside face becomes light and shown figure 529. Move the locate inside wall face with the picket, then move the cursor up to you with the entire of the dimension string file with the place of the dimension, rub the lick a little awkward, give it a hand, hang on it with a point of the wave of the last dimension string shown figure 530, almost with a trying to pick up another item that isn't there. When you do this, dimension would be in place with the dimension string of the play for these walls the equal of the distance of one another. The play for the dimension string. Familiar blue icons, you could use them as follow the EQ icon middle of the dimension string with a slash with the next go over the wall. Walls have moved as shown figure 531. And please press escape twice for the release selection exit align dimension command. Because these walls are constrained always are equal to one with the move with the interior portions always maintain equal relations with one end with the long dimension string with the trail associated with the wall with the Revit architecture of the key with the wall with the constraint you with the dimension only with the move of the walls around constraining in the model. You make earlier the design process with the constraint of the model can either gratefully benefit greatly underneath with the project flow gain more with the constraint with the Revit architecture also starting here with the over constraint with the term of the model with the constraint with the many of the places and with the movement of the model forces multiple warnings in many cases over the area that can be ignored. Give that and choose the constraint of the models up to you with the constraint and with the unconstrained with your model. In this section, by deciding whether the constraint model will vary from project to project, constraint the wall with a triangle equal to dimension, have the place for the constraint with the least wall with the constraint with the following, along the select with the dimension string with the delete key on the keyboard, wherever that warns you with the figure 30 or figure 32, you choose with the web the unconstrained elements. If you click on the button, EQ dimension will disappear as well as any constraints on the wall. Move the exterior of the wall, new space won't reposition themselves. Click OK. You learn how to unstring these 12 of the different methods. Like one interior of the walls with EQ, the dimension string with the EQ. Any item icon appears. Click the restraint cassette with the walls. You're now free to move around the building. Now that you've constrained with the dimension equality, constrained with the time, learned of the different constraint with the involving locking in together the dimension. With locking a dimension, at times you may also want to hold the dimension no matter what else is going on around it. Use physically adding dimension to the item and the locking with the dimension in place. For example, we'll lock in with the middle space for the specific dimension with a simply add the dimension and lock it down. Sounds easy, is it? And the tape tab with the line button with the property dialog box, linear 332 for the dimension style, figure 3, and shown figure 3, 5, 34. Option bar change alignment of wall faces. Pick the inside faces, two middle portions shown in the upper left hand corner, 534. Add place with the dimension blue padlock. Appear with the picket and the change with the lock pad icon. When you pass escape to width, modify with the terminate with the command left wall has been the dimension. Move with the wall to the right 2 foot, and with the notice with the right wall moves as well. With the constraint with a not satisfied message, you go back to EQ 5 walls, undo with the button shown figure 535. To leave dimensions when you go to when you get the warning, unclick on constraint button, save with the model. Any doors, windows, or plans shown in figure 536, and when they tap of the door, window can try to keep them similar to one of the 536. If the placement doesn't matter, we'll adjust for the next procedure. For the next section, you'll start with the dimension, move with the elements around physically, although it might seem the exercise of utility practice relevant to encounter future projects. Alright, using dimensions to move objects. Mentioned before, with the type of the other dimensions, casual view with the dimension with the inaccurate, rather it does provide with the tools to get around with this. When adding a dimension, select the projection, object being dimension with the dimension term with the blue with the temporary dimension can be added to the consequent with the object being dimension will move. Goals procedure, select add and modify with the temporary dimension, affecting the moving object. Zoom in into the left side with the west wing shown figure 537 and select the door and figure 537 with the dimension each of the side of the door with the temporary dimension. Pick the blue text with the temporary dimension, see what the text might be the obscure with the wall, hover over it and activate with it. You can select with it type of 1 for the imperial with equivalent 1 foot 0 inches. This is for the door. Move with the press escape the release of the door. Procedure with a temporary dimension appear with the select with the item with additional added with the dimension and away with the next procedure a permanent dimension. Do the same in the annotate tab, select with the line button dimension between the door and the wall shown figure 538. Press escape each way as the door shown figure 539 dimension turns small when the button is already to be modified. Dimension turns blue, select with the text and with the type 6 with the door adjusted with a 6-inch increment. Press escape to click anywhere, open space to clear with the selection. Select the dimension blue grip just underneath the text, pick with the group with it, move with the text between the extension line shown with the figure 540, put place of the Revit place of the leader's arrow line extending from the model on into your text with the text. Processing using the dimension, more object with getting used of the next procedure that involves in making further modification of the dimension provided a nice fail-safe procedure embedded with the dimension properties. Alright, using dimension text overrides. Although I was just told that you can't override a dimension filing to get around with that problem. The most give the text over the more commonly prefix suffix with the dimension can do all three with the Revit architecture set with the 6-inch dimension. Turn the text to blue, but also when the blue means editable with the Revit pick with the text, and you see with the dialog box link one more with the figure 541 a dimensional value replaced with the text type 1 foot 1 inch. Press enter to get an invalid dimension value message is shown figure 542, but the Revit won't allow you to do such a foolish thing. Click close. In the dimension text dialog box, actual value under subtlety type type TYP for type and shown figure 543. And then click OK. Crows practicing dimension with the rest of the door along with the wall of 6 inches with a increment finish of the inside face of the wall of the door opening in the dimension floor plan shown figure 544 and 545. Placing text annotation. Revit architecture with a love and hate relationship with the eggs. Revit usually with a love text with the automatically scale with the Revit reuse scale with a hate with it, and because of the text with it's something to throw back with the earlier CAD application. Either way with us here, adding text does not change with a feeling toward it. Particular procedure is simple to add text with the model format and then add it to the format. Lead the project browser to go to level 1 floor plan, zoom into as a east wing radial entry elevator shaft located with figure 546. On text panel, annotate tab, click text button, shown figure 547, the type selected with the text 332 array with it on the format panel, choose the leader with the, for example, the no leader button and the button with the A and shown with the figure 548. To place the text with the pick of the point, drag the window, left click over the point mark 1 with the figure 548, keep the button down with the drag with the cursor point mark 2 with the release of the button, CMU shaft with wall with the point with the view, outside with the text file with the note with the end of the model with the text, red with the file side with the menu, drag with the press, escape with the click, modify select with the text, format panel, review the choices you have with the add to leave with the text, add left side with the straight leader button with the shown with the figure 549, option add leader to the left end with the text with the grip, and move with the text around, figure the text with the adding leader to resemble the 549. Adding a leader to text. You can add text to modify the placing of the leader first for the adding of the text with the same command. Although the Revit, you can add leader to all of the text, and you can choose add the text to model without a leader. With the object with the following step, with the plate with the leader, with the text panel and the annotate with the text button and the format panel, with a click with the 2-segment button shown figure 550, with a place with the near with the radial wall mark 1 figure 550. Second point similar to the point mark 2, with a pick the third point just right of the second mark 3, with the type of the full height radial wall. Click area the outside of the text. Now that you can add the text of the model, and let's investigate how to modify the text after you add it, with the beginning with the arrowhead over the end of the leader. Changing with the leader type with the almost seemingly with the Revit ugliest leader is for all the default, forcing you to change it immediately. Large arrowhead as you saw in figure 550 isn't only one Revit that provides, has been in the case Revit that may never have gotten off the ground. Changing the arrowhead of Revit, use the text item found with the procedure text panel annotated to have a small arrow pointing down on the right with shown figure 551, clicking on the type of the property, open type properties. Change the leader arrowhead property filled with a 15 degree shown figure 552. Click OK. You change the type of the perimeter. The handsome-looking arrow is shown figure 553. The next item addresses how to modify placement with the text after you add it to the model. Modifying text placement with any text item wherever that you can set with the text within your model. You can set with the grips for the adjusting tip of the 2, the grip of the text spot with the 2 on the leader, and rotate the icon next subject for the modify with the text placement and make it the necessary adjustments for the text you just added with the model place for the right blue grip of the text window with the left until the force of the text to wrap is shown figure 553. For the rotate icon, you need not to rotate with the text, but notice if it is in the feature reference modifying the placement with the text is straightforward process. Change with the icon, actual font inside of the text and model is another story that requires further investigation. Change with the text properties. Of course, you can change with the font, with the youth of the text, change with the text and the height, with the window width, or keep it in mind with however the text height, you specify the actual text height whether you want to see with it on the sheet. They no longer have the multiple as desired height, text scale with the line type scale with the Revit understand with the text to scale with the base and with the view scale. Modify with the text appearing with the run through with the font. Proceed with the text type with the arrow with the corner with the text panel as you did when you change with the leader type. Place with the duplicate plan button. Click with the next 360 within Tahoma. Click OK to check the text font settings with the Tahoma and check with the text font size settings the 316 that are shown in figure 554. Change with the width factor 0.8. Click OK. You now able to create a text style, but of course, if the large non-uniform text is not proper in context, you can use the new type and easily start the text command in type selector. Verify that the new text is in the list. Are you experienced? Now you can add multiple different type of dimensions for the model, similarly alternating options associated with the dimension command and equal constraint items model, adding string of dimensions, clicking the EQ button. Use the dimension as a layout, keeping the items in constraint that even after the dimensions deleted. Add text model starting with the leader and paragraph that were with text, string with the text type of the arrowhead type of the leader text. Alright, chapter 6, floors.